how to get women attracted to you, how to create a man-to-woman connection. In this reel, I'm going to give you practical tips on how you can make your conversations with women more romantic. If you go on dates and women say, I just didn't feel the spark, or you happen to get friend-zoned, or you're very good at making women feel comfortable, or you're having very logical conversations, this video is going to be insanely valuable for you. There's basically three things we'll look at: mindset, verbal, and nonverbal. Let's start with mindset. The first mindset is intent. You have to allow yourself to go into the date, into the approach with the mindset that this will be a romantic interaction and that she'll either reject you or she will accept the romantic frame. There will be no friendship. Most friendships between men and women are complete nonsense. Can they exist? Yeah, absolutely. Do they? Very rarely. Most women who are in friendships with men don't realize that the men want a lot more. The second they were to give them a chance, they will totally go for it. So the first thing is you allowing yourself to convey intent. I will convey my romantic interest. And then I'm going to let the cards fall where they may. I will not force anything. I'm going to communicate an offer. I'm going to communicate a value proposition, and then it's up to her to decide. I'm not going to try to convince her. I'm going to communicate the offer in the most compelling way with intent, and then it's up to her. That's the first thing. The second thing is leading. It is your job to make things man to woman. I've had plenty of clients who are doing extremely well in their career or their business over the years who are very good at having platonic or logical or even serious conversations. And then women lose interest in them after 3 or 4 or 5 dates. They're very interested in them and they might even go to their place. They might arm wrestle or play chess. And then in the end, nothing happens because they don't move things forward. And she goes, well, look, I've done all this. I've showed him all these indicators of interest, and yet he doesn't make the move. Next. Because you have to understand that you're not the only man who's in her periphery. At any given point in time, she has plenty of other guys who are hitting on her. So you have a window of opportunity. If you don't capitalize on that, some other man will. So you have to lead. Leading just means being proactive, saying let's, moving things into the direction step by step in a very calibrated way so she can decide at any given point in time to opt in or opt out. The third one is wanting versus needing. Wanting, that's where the German comes out. Wanting versus needing. I want you, but I don't need you. You don't want to be needy, but you want her to feel that you want her, but not needy. And that is mindset. And we're going to look at the practical applications in a second here, but it starts with intent. Wayne Dyer, one of the most amazing personal development teachers ever, who unfortunately passed away several years ago, he had a lecture on the power of intent. It starts with intent. So, how can you communicate your interest now in a verbal manner? The first one is compliments. Most men don't even compliment women enough. I really like your eyes. You have the most beautiful smile. You have the cutest facial expressions when you're trying to explain something. I like your calves. Whatever. I like your posture. The more tailored, the better. The less generic, the better. But most men don't give women enough compliments at all. Now, if you give her too many, that's going to constitute an overinvestment and she's also going to lose interest. But if you don't give her compliments, how on earth is she supposed to know that you're romantically interested in her? Keep in mind, women think men actually just want to be friends. So use compliments. Next one, misinterpretation. When she says something, you can misinterpret that in a slightly or romantic way. Don't overdo this. Very important side note. You don't want to be the guy who makes things too intimate, too weird, who can't have a normal conversation at all. That's creepy as well. Be calibrated, but every now and then insert statements that convey intent. Very important. Next one, cold reads or assumptions. In a general social context or in a business context, you would never want to make an assumption about somebody. You look like a lawyer. How dare you? You look like an accountant. How dare you? You look like artistic on the one hand, an accountant on the other hand. You won't want to make any assumptions because people are going to get offended, right? In a dating context, it's so much better, especially off the opening of the conversation. What do you do for work? Do you come here often? Instead of asking her what she does for work, you can say, you look like, I bet you. you look like, I bet you, are very powerful assumptions. Because it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. It is playful, it's a game, it's a dance, it's a mating dance, if you will. Even if you're not right in your assumption, or especially then, it is more emotionally engaging. You want to move from flatline to spikes. You want to create positive emotional spikes, or sometimes also negative emotional spikes. It's perfectly fine. So, that's cold reads or assumptions. You can read her palm. You can predict the future. I bet you did this. I bet you look like. I bet you're the kind of woman who enjoys this. Why? And then you come up with some funny story to illustrate the point. The next one is storytelling. When you tell stories, you can strategically infuse it with a degree of spark. You can talk about past adventures you've had. Don't talk about your ex, but you can insert romantic or explicit subjects into the conversation. Now remember, you want to find the right girlfriend or wife for a long-term relationship. You don't need to be a player. This is not about having intimacy on the first date, even though it may happen sometimes, nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that you have fallen prey to a fallacy. You group women in your head into the princesses and the troublemakers. Let's call it that for now. You think there's the wild ones and then there's the good girl. That is a fallacy. All women have inside of them the need to be treated like a princess, and they have the crazy wild side to them. In German we have a saying, stille Wasser sind tief, silent waters are deep. Never underestimate how adventurous she may be. Now, obviously, there's a spectrum, right? Some women are more on the conservative and reserved side, and some are more on the outright side. But there are plenty of women where you look at them, you think, yeah, she's totally wild, but she actually will only get intimate with you on date number 3, 4, or 5, and then quite the other way around. So it's important that you let go of this stereotype that, yeah, she's just for fun, and with her, I can really imagine myself for the long term. And then you start treating her in a super boring way. You almost roll up with a checklist. You have boring platonic conversations. You're very, very careful. You're not fun and playful enough at all. Keep in mind, the best way to find a high-quality relationship is to be fun and playful for the first 4 to 8 weeks. You're supposed to date her non-exclusively anyway for 4 to minimum 12 weeks before you make it exclusive. It's very important. The best way to find a meaningful relationship is still to get her attracted. She still has to want to stick around. And what's going to make her stick around is emotions. She does not come to the date for a logical conveyance of information. So, storytelling is extremely powerful when it comes to creating a man-to-woman connection. The words you utter matter. We've all heard this nonsense interpretation of the story. I don't know whether the study, is nonsense itself, or whether it was just interpreted in a completely ridiculous way where people say that words only make up for 6% of communication. That is complete nonsense. Anybody who works in business or who has any job, you will understand that if you were to change one sentence at the beginning of a job interview and you were to insult the person, you'd get a completely different outcome. One word can make a massive difference. Words really do matter. Storytelling, creating attraction, that really does matter. Now, nonverbal also matters, and maybe it even matters more, but both matters. So, what can we do in terms of nonverbal? The first thing is eye contact. If you can't even hold relaxed and steady eye contact for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 7-3, however long it may be, she'll immediately interpret you as somebody less trustworthy. If you can't hold eye contact and bear the tension that it creates, you will come across as so much less confident. Now, don't stare at her for a whole 90 seconds. That's going to be weird. But can you relax? Look into her eyes and feel the tension, feel the desire, feel the spark that is building, because whatever emotions you want her to feel, you have to generate within yourself first. There's something called mirror neurons. What you create within yourself, if there's rapport, she will feel to an extent. Tony Robbins famously said back in the day, whoever is most certain will always influence the other person if there's rapport. So, eye contact, very important. And now, physical touch, obviously, very important. You have to be extremely calibrated and extremely respectful and slow. So the way you can start building physical contact on a date, obviously, when you welcome her, you can either go for the hug. Don't shake her hand at all. That's very formal, very weird. So either go for the hug, or you can give her a kiss on the cheek, right? If you kiss her on the cheek, don't actually let the lips touch. It's kind of more cheeks side by side, but immediately builds a degree of physical comfort or physical touch. Then on the date, you can start with a fist bump or a high five. She says something you really like, and you can say, oh, it's actually really cool. You go to the gym 4 times a week, that's amazing. Most people wouldn't have the discipline to do that. Awesome. Boom. A little bit. Don't underestimate what happens in a human body when physical touch is being built. Now, very important, you have to read her signals. If you go for a fist bump and she kind of pulls back just a tiny bit, that's a negative signal, and you immediately want to create space. Again, if you go for any sort of physical contact and you can see her like a micro signal where she pulls back, you immediately want to lean back and create space. Maybe she just needs more comfort. Maybe she isn't comfortable with you touching her at all, or maybe she just needs 10, 20, 30 more minutes of comfort, which is created through storytelling and maybe including vulnerability in all sorts of ways. So, fist bump, high five, and then maybe if you tease her, you can go for a hug. Now, if you go for a hug on the date, while you've already been talking for 20, 30, 40 minutes, you just extend your arm and you can say, come here. You don't lean over, you don't give up your frame, which is something that you learn in bachata or salsa, for example, to never give up your frame in dancing, but you say, come here. And then 1 second, and you let go. You always want to see how she reacts. You're always either going to get a positive, a neutral, or a negative. Positive is good, neutral, all right, a negative is bad. So if she pulls back just a tiny bit, or you can see her face that she's uncomfortable, create space. Then after the hug, you can say, for example, I really like your hair. Is it real? Sounds like a bit of a tease. Look, I'm not a fan of lines. I'm a fan of spontaneous, free-flowing communication. But certain lines work extremely well. And if you're not that comfortable on dates yet, it's fantastic to have the odd structure to be able to fall back on. So that's a good one. Now, the ultimate expression on the date of expressing physical touch, other than having intimacy, is obviously the kiss. And yes, go for the kiss. Yes, make the offer. On the first date, you won't lose anything by that. And she could go for it, or she might not. It's no problem. But after an hour and a half, or 2, or an hour, or 3, however long it may take, you just go for the kiss. You can either say 2 seconds. Sorry, I was just too busy staring at your lips to listen. Oh my God, it's crazy. Okay, cool. And then you go for the makeout. Or you can say, I really like your hair. You touch it. And if she doesn't back away, if she backs away, you don't go for the kiss. If she's totally comfortable with you touching her hair a little bit, then you can slowly go for the kiss. Remember, you go so slowly that if she's uncomfortable, she can back out. And if she backs out, then you can just say, silly, no, come here. I just wanted to tell you something. Remember the goldfish that my grandmother had? This aquarium on the other side of the bar actually reminded her that, I'm just joking anyway. Do not be insecure around it. If you go for the kiss and she doesn't kiss you yet, maybe she's going to kiss you on the second date. It's no problem. Not everything is lost yet, but everything is going to go to, if you are insecure around it. If she realizes that the situation or her can make you insecure, she will lose attraction. So, recap, mindset, intent, make things more romantic. Offer it. It's an offer that you communicate. You communicate a value proposition that she can decide to opt in or opt out. Wanting versus needing. Compliments, misinterpretation, cold reads, assumptions, storytelling, eye contact, and physical touch.